welcome back to the channel. I haven't said that for a really long time. I have been gone from YouTube for about 10 months, and I wanted to kind of give a video on why I suddenly disappeared off the face of YouTube for so long. Some of you know that in July of last year, my dad was forced to quit his job due to a disability, and we have been dealing with that. There was a lot of financial stuff that went along with that, and it was a struggle for quite some time. I was also home with him a lot because he really couldn't be left alone. So I was trying to go to school. I was trying to go to school and finish my degree, which, by the way, I graduate in less than 2 weeks with my BSN in nursing. I will officially be a nurse. So I'm really excited about that. But I've been busy with him. And the other thing that has really been depressing is there has been an issue with the fish. And I have still been posting on Instagram, and I've mentioned it a few times, but right before Halloween, there was a huge water main burst in my area, and it was a mess. Big mess. So I hadn't really thought about it at the time, but that week, you know, we were under a boil water advisory. I waited to do my water changes, and then once it was lifted, I waited like 24 hours and I started doing my water changes as per usual. All of the tanks get weekly water changes of 80%. That's how I've always done it. Nothing has changed. So about a week later, I started losing fish, and fish started becoming sick, and I lost a lot of fish, which is really sad. I lost Jojo, Queenie, and Cleo. They were the 3 butterfly telescopes that I bought from King Koi many years ago. I lost them to this. I lost, gosh, Malachi passed away. She was the calico Oranda that I rescued many years ago that didn't even have a tail at the time that I helped her regrow. She passed. I lost Comet, Knight's girlfriend. She passed. I lost Lucy. I lost, gosh, Eloise recently, the calico Ranchu. I lost Wiggles, my calico Ryukin that I saved a few years back from being flushed because she was annoying her owner by picking at his angelfish. I lost Davina. She was the baby that Sakara and Dodge, one of the first ones that I kept back from Sakara and Dodge. And I lost Sakara. She was my breeder with Dodge. They were both from ECR, and that was really hard. Cleo and Sakara was the 2 that probably hurt me the worst, besides Night dying last January. Since Night died, I really just lost my passion for YouTube, and I just didn't want to do it anymore. And that was another reason why I left. I just needed a break. And losing the fish, and I tried everything. I tried putting off water changes. It took me a little bit to figure out what was killing them, because all the fish were as healthy as they could possibly be. And turns out that it was the water. I had been talking to some friends of mine about this, and they told me to call my water company. There's probably something wrong with the water, because what I was testing wasn't showing anything. My ammonia, nitrate, everything was on point. My pH was even on point. Everything, nothing at all had changed from before. So I could not figure out what was wrong until I called my water company. So they decided that they were going to dump chlorine and chloramines into the water because of this water main break, to flush the lines and, you know, anything that had sit in there, which they're supposed to do. But in the process of doing that, they killed my fish, because I had only been dosing prime as per usual, and there was more chlorine in there than there ever had been. So I wasn't killing all my chlorine, and I had no idea. So then I began doubling and tripling my doses of prime, and I started not losing fish. And since October, there was some fish that had issues that passed later from the problem. They didn't fully recover, and that was terrible. I did not want to talk about it. Every time I went out to bury a fish, my parents would be like, "Who's that one? What happened with that one?" And I'm like, just don't talk to me. I just don't want you to talk to me right now. I wanted to give you guys an update on the fish that I do have right now, and things that are happening. One thing that's going to be happening in the next week, which I hope to film for the channel, is the big tank, the 120 that is now in the fish room, is going to be rescaped. I hate the tank. As far as how I decorated it, it's been that way for about 2 years, and it's time to change it. So that's one thing that's coming, and I've just been trying to get my love for the fish and the hobby back since Not died. And then with this whole fish dying thing, I lost my mind. I feel like I did, because literally everything I loved in this fish died. Most of them did, and it was not something that I could fix really until I knew what was wrong. And one of the other things I'm going to talk about before I let you see the tanks is that I sold a lot of aquariums. I used to have a rack on the wall over here with 29-gallon tanks. I sold it. In that time, I needed the money really, really bad, and it had to go. I didn't have any fish for it, so I let it go. And I also sold a 60-gallon tank due to financial needs. It had to go. But the one thing I wanted to speak about before I let you see the fish is Spike. Spike has an issue since the initial water issue. And I have tried everything on this planet to help him, and I can't. So I'm not sure if toward the end of this video if I'm gonna show Spike on video or not. Spike does not look like Spike, and I don't mean that he is sick or he is got frayed fins or anything like that. He looks like Spike. He acts like Spike. He is still Spike. He is the second oldest fish that I have right now besides Josephine, and he produced a lot of extra slime coat during this issue, which is to be, I mean, it's understood. However, it did not go away. And at first, I thought he had, it almost looked like fungus. So I treated him for fungus, and it did not help. He continued to look worse. I treated him for bacterial infections. I treated him for parasites. I treated him with everything since October. So from October to now the end of April, he has been treated with everything that I have or know to treat him with, and it does not help. I've been told by some people that I need to scrape his scales and get that off. That's probably the only way it's going to come off. I'm not scraping him. That is just going to stress him, and I'm just going to be scraping what's left of his slime coat off, and that just doesn't make sense to me. I'm not going to do that. And so he has some areas, although I will say this, he is 100 times better than he was. He does not look anything like he did. He was bad. There was many days that I thought I was going to wake up and he was going to be dead. But his personality has not changed. He does not seem to be in pain, or he is a happy Spock. Eats all the time as per usual. He just has these really ugly white spots on his body that I cannot get rid of. And if at some point I think that he is suffering, I will euthanize him if I feel the need to do that. But at this time I don't. And I may show you briefly what he looks like. I'm not sure yet. But know that I have done everything that I can possibly think of for him. And he does look better, but I don't expect this to go away. He took a really hard hit with this water issue that I seem to now be working out. It's been really difficult for me to deal with this water issue. And two more things before I show you the fish. One is I have been told to get jugs of water from Walmart and do his water changes. That is a 60-gallon tank. I would need 60 gallons of water. One is that does not seem resourceful, and two, I can't afford to do that every time I have to do a water change on him, and three, we're in the middle of a pandemic and they are not going to let me walk out with 60 gallons of water. Second thing is RO water. Yes, I have looked into it. No, I cannot afford to do it. So I'm stuck with what I have right now. But without further ado, here are what's left of Kentucky Orandas. So here is the butterfly tank. You guys may remember these three from one of the last videos I did last year. I bought these from King Koi Goldfish. So you're looking at Reagan right now, one of the females. She kept getting into my shot, so I think she likes the camera. You're looking at DeLuca. He is the male and the only male in this tank. You may remember that I was raising one of their babies, and it unfortunately passed after this whole water issue. There is Caroline. So I have two females and a male, and they are the only fish in this tank. It is a 60-gallon tank. It used to be in the fish room. However, when I moved the 120-gallon tank in there, I decided to move it into my bedroom, as I had sold the previous tank that was in my room. So now they are hanging out in my room with me, and they have been doing really well. Thankfully, they haven't had any issues with the water quality. They are very tough, but they are some of the youngest fish that I have currently, so that's probably why. There you see where they like to dig in the gravel, and it drives me crazy because they will push all the gravel onto like one side of the tank or in one corner, and I have to move it. I'm a little bit OCD about that, but that's all right. This is the 120-gallon tank that is getting rescaped in the next week or so. There are only 4 fish in this tank currently. My Ranchu Precious is in here. My 2 babies, or 3 babies. So that is Royalty, Night and Comet's Fry. And then I have Dixon, the bronze Oranda, and Czar behind her from the last batch of fry that I had from Sakara and Dodge. So hopefully I would like to continue that line at some point when I get back into breeding again, because these 2 really did turn out really nice, and they're still growing and growing so fast. So there is Precious. Funny story about Precious and his cute little face. I had to do a presentation this morning through Zoom for my schooling, and I filmed it in front of this tank. It was a Zoom session, and he kept coming up behind my head and like sitting on my shoulder in the video, and my teachers were just getting a hoot out of him. He was being really cute, but he stayed there the entire time, so I guess he likes attention. There is Royalty again, and Precious big butt. He has cute little chubby butt. He does like the camera apparently now. So for this tank, that's the only fish that's in there right now since I lost Wiggles and Eloise. This is the 50-gallon bow front tank that I have. It used to house Josephine and Malachi, but since Malachi passed and after Sakara passed, I moved Dodge in here with her. Josephine is a Ryukin. She's in the back there. She is the oldest fish that I currently have. She's a little over 4 years old, so she's getting up there. I have never had any issues out of Josephine as far as her being sick or anything. She's been a very, very healthy fish. She does have that gill turn on the other side. That's the only issue with her, but it's more like a cosmetic issue than anything. It doesn't bother her any. And I also found out that Dodge does not like to be filmed. He was not interested in my camera this morning. He kept swimming away from me. But that is those 2. They're the only 2 fish in that tank. It's a 50-gallon as well. And now you're going to see one of my beta tanks. This houses Mystic. He's a mustard gas beta. However, he did not want to come out this morning. So the funny thing about Mystic is that he is a night owl, and he does not like to come out during the day. So he was not about to come out. This is my other beta, Rain. Rain is a Dumbo beta that I won. He is an import from Thailand, and this is his tank. The reason that there are so many little air bubbles is I had just given this tank a good water change and deep clean because I actually changed the tank decor. Here is Damon, my precious little Damon. In case I don't remember that I told you guys or not, I don't remember. Damon is a female, so she's been doing well. She's been keeping Spike company in the butterfly tank, the original butterfly tank. It is just her and Spike now, and they've been doing pretty good. Damon is very attached to Spike. I noticed they don't like to be separated, so if I separate them, Damon will actually go off food and won't eat until I put Spike back, which is really cute. But yeah, so I have to keep them together all the time, pretty much. So that's all I have for you today. I will see you guys next time.